Hello everybody and welcome back to UniversalGiant plays Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Today we're going to be wrapping up the main story with Final Rush, Stage 16 of the Hero side. And the last time we'll get to control Sonic. It's only fitting that we ended this playthrough with Sonic, isn't it? It is his game after all. But this level in a nutshell, I have one word. Rails. There are lots and lots and lots of rails. Did I mention there were rails? And it's not just rails, there were rails. Rails, 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 rails. By the end of this video, you will be so sick of hearing the grinding sound effect, it will probably haunt you in your dreams. I know it haunts me in my dreams. Okay, I'm not going to be that overly dramatic. It does not haunt me in my dreams. But it's just really annoying to have to listen to for the entire stage. Especially these vertical rails. But that was embarrassing. I'll get to the vertical rails when we get to them again, because believe me, we're going to see a lot of vertical rails. Ah, I hate that so much! Also, you'll notice, or at least the keen eye would have noticed, I lost 2 lives there rather than 1. As much as I would like to leave my deaths in this part, and believe me, there were a couple of funny ones, but I just didn't have time to leave them in. I like leaving them in for the, you know, hilarious quality, but to be honest, there really just wasn't any room in this video. I wanted to finish the story, and I didn't want to have to drag this out into another part. So yeah, more rails. You don't want to go all the way down that rail because it'll send you to a spring and right back to the beginning. More of those vertical rails and then Chaos Freak. If you go through the middle box over here, it'll take you straight up to the top. One of them leads you to a power-up and the other one leads you to a lower section down there with more rings you don't really need. Here's the section with all the vertical rails. I like the concept, I just don't think it was very well done. They control weird. It's like when you're grinding up, occasionally you won't get the secondary homing attack jump to reposition yourself, and it'll just act like you sort of stepped off the rail rather than actually jumping off of it, and that will kill you, just like it killed me. And I believe I had another one of those depths like that in between. But I'm not a big fan of these vertical rails at all. Unfortunately, you have to use them to climb up this section. You'll notice I'm getting really careful as to where and when I jump off those things, because now, at this point, I am so deathly afraid of just jumping off of them without meaning to. But this section is just all about grinding up the vertical rails. Have I said the words vertical rails often enough in this part that you are sick of hearing them? Because I am sure sick of seeing them and using them. But we're almost to the end of that part, thank goodness. I can't believe we're almost at the end of this playthrough, my goodness, it's... I mean, I know it's been a month, but I can't believe the game is coming to an end this quickly. I mean, after this I'm going to have... Well, of course, at the end of this, we're going to have the credits. But I'm also going to keep to my word, and I'm going to show you every last power-up, including the ones that we skipped in the adventure, because we weren't able to get them without some of the power-ups from the later levels. How did I go through that rail? More and more and more rails. There are a bunch of different ways you can go. Honestly, I always just take the center path. I think the other ones are just longer. But if there's anything worthwhile to find down there, let me know. I honestly forget what they are. If you're going for 100% completion, you want to take the orange rail over here. Don't worry, it won't shoot you off into space. It'll take you to these platforms with a rocket. You can use the rocket to get through the other rail you would have ground down to get an extra life. But you'll also want to take the springboard up here and follow up this vertical rail to get the Mystic Melody. What you can do with this where depends on what's around you, but if you see one of these sort of pedestal things, you can play the Mystic Melody and cool stuff will happen. It's really only relevant if you're looking for 100% completion, like if you're going for the Lost Chow. I might have mentioned that already. But yeah, in the adventure mode, don't worry about it. If you manage to stay up on these rails over here, you can skip a bit of the level to the left. There are a couple of these rail shortcuts in this level, which is nice. I don't like having to go through the entire level if I know a faster route around. That's what a Sonic game is for, after all. All the different ways you can go, trying to figure out which way is faster than the other. Also, I don't know if it's noticeable, but my throat's starting to feel kind of scratchy. I don't know. I just got back to school after spring break, and I don't know, there are a couple of people coughing up a storm over there. I hope I'm not coming down with something.
Yes!
I know what's going around. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this final stage of the game.
Huh, no problem.
But before we go, something everybody's been waiting for. The clash. Two hedgehogs.
You never cease to surprise me, Blue Hedgehog. I thought that capsule you were in exploded in space.
You know, what can I say? I die hard. You actually saved me, you know.
It was a Chaos Emerald, wasn't it? But there's no way you could have activated the Chaos Control using an emerald that's fake. So, there's more to you than just looking like it. What are you, anyway?
What you see is what you get. Just a guy who loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
I see, but you know, I can't let you live. Your adventuring days are coming to an end.
So here we go, to top off the hero story and the dark story, we get to duel with our hedgehog rivals. Sonic versus Shadow in deep space. Who will get to the Eclipse Cannon first? The first two hits of this battle are pretty easy. You can just homing attack the guy. Bunch of trails of rings around here, which you can do after a certain amount of time. If you let your opponent stand around, he'll activate one of his special attacks. Yeah, you can sort of roll into him, but after the second hit you can't do that anymore. A couple of the ways you can hit him: you can roll into him like that, but after this you have to wait for him to attack before he's vulnerable. You can also ring dash into him. I used to think that that was the only way to defeat this guy and win this battle. But the timing for that is just so difficult to predict, because you have to stop yourself to make sure he would teleport in front of one of those ring trails, otherwise you wouldn't have been able to hit him. But you can't actually rolling attack when he's vulnerable doing his attack. This is also a nice way to do some life grinding. If you remember where all of the trails of rings are, the pattern repeats itself. You can do a lot of life grinding and get yourself up to 99 if you want to. But yeah, that duel was not as epic as it might have built up to be. So now the end of the hero story.
Sonic, I did it!
Awesome job, Tails.
He's alive! Both of them are!
Look outside.
Oh no, the cannon's gonna fire again! But I'm hearing happy hero music, which means that something's going to happen! Something good! The cannon blew up! The world is saved! I have no idea how Sonic did it, but by the magic of off-screening, he must have done it, because the cannon blew up. Way to go, Sonic, you did it! Pose for the folks at home now, we need a good picture. There you go. But we did see Dr. Eggman grab the last emerald in that cutscene, didn't we?
This completes my plan to take over the world.
Oh, it did.
Who is the glorious era of the Empire of Pac-Man.
Wait a minute, if he got all 7 emeralds before the cannon fired, then why did it blow up? Doesn't this mean that the dark side wins? Shouldn't the cannon go off? This doesn't make any sense. How did both sides win? What's the red flashing? Warning! What's going on?